start at 11 o'clock in the evening and I finish at 7 o'clock in the morning. My job basically entails redressing sections of the store. The job can be pretty repetitive and a bit boring at times, but on the whole, I do enjoy it.
They scan the barcodes, stack the shelves, stick stickers on offering us 2 for 1. Just short of 1 million people work for the big 4 supermarkets. Many tell the same story.
On the whole, the pay, I don't think it's enough to live on. I am in arrears with my rent at the moment, not by a lot, but it is there, and I have received letters saying that, you know, I could be thrown out of the house that I live if I can't catch up with my arrears. I'm also behind with my the council tax. I just don't even want to think about because I'm so far behind with that. And same with the water bill.
Supermarkets pay low wages. Many on the lowest hourly rates survive only by claiming in-work benefits. Sarah, not her real name because supermarket workers are not allowed to talk to the press, earns £200 a week working nights and relies on £120 a week of tax credits, including child tax credit, to make ends meet. Soon, as her child turns 16, she'll lose most of that.
I am petrified of what is going to happen. I really don't know how I'm going to be able to continue to work on the wage that I'm actually going to be living on, basically, and support my son and the rest of my family. I just don't think I'll be able to do it, and I don't really know what the alternative is for me apart from going on job seekers, which doesn't make an awful lot of sense. I don't think, for me in my situation, actually going out to work does actually pay.
Supermarkets have a lot of power. Their price wars can move the inflation figures. Their expansion policies can make or break town centres. Now they're creating tens of thousands of new jobs. And when it comes to politicians, everybody wants to be the supermarket's friend. David Cameron even used a supermarket as a stage to make a point about benefits.
Are you happy that your taxes are going towards families where no one is working and they're earning over £26,000 in benefits? Is that fair?
No, that's a good question. But here's another one. Why do so many people with jobs earn so little that they have to rely on in-work benefits to survive? And why do so many of them work for supermarkets? Why, in other words, does the taxpayer have to fund the pay bill of these big 4 employers? Well, for supermarkets, pay is a touchy question. When researchers from the Fair Pay Network tried to survey supermarket workers about their pay, they ran into a problem.
We encountered from day one, universally across the 4 regions we worked, a pretty pathological fear of engagement with us. I think if you look, for example, at Tesco, part of the employment contract includes forbidding discussing Tesco matters with anyone outside. And we lost a lot of people that in principle wanted to talk to us. The fear was too great. In fact, our research teams were followed, they were hounded around, and wherever, I mean, this was a pretty straightforward social survey, and wherever it was discovered to be going on, a culture of prohibition went down across the board.
Those who did speak to the researchers had the same story to tell. Here, their words are spoken by actors. Woman lives in a housing association flat with 7-year-old son, has 2 jobs, 16 hours a week as shelf stacker, and the rest of the time as a waitress.
Without my rent cap, my housing benefit, my tax credits, we'd be out on the street, both of us. And if I worked for the supermarket full-time and not in the cafe, we'd be worse. At the cafe I get tips.
Another woman, 2 children under 3, works part-time on the tills, husband has 2 jobs. They get housing benefit.
There's not much difference between the benefits and the supermarket, but at least I'm out and about with other people and not begging. I don't want to beg for anything. 'anything. But to be honest, I'd be better off on benefits. 'Cause I don't want to beg for anything. 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 'Cause I don't want to beg for anything.
The pay at the supermarket is very bad. I'd get the same on job seekers, but I don't want to live that way, and I don't want to live this way.
They're not going to pay us any more, and there are no jobs around here. So if you slack, they can sack you and someone else will take your place. They always say that. They can fill your job before you get your coat.
Though they've been squeezed by the economic downturn, the big four supermarkets did make $4 billion pre-tax profits together in 2011. Campaigners acknowledged the profits might be less if the wages were higher, but so too would be the bill to the taxpayer.
Do we as taxpayers think it is acceptable to have four employers employing almost 900,000 people, second biggest employer outside the NHS, who don't pay their staff a sufficient wage, despite the fact they're turning billions in profit and paying executives tens of millions? We make up the difference. Is that fair? Do taxpayers think that's fair?
All the big four supermarkets pointed out they provide discount cards, bonuses and training. Morrisons and Sainsbury's refused to discuss hourly rates. Asda told us its hourly rates range from £6.50 an hour to £7.39 in London, above the minimum wage of £6.08. None of the employers wanted to appear on camera, but were happy for their trade association to speak for them.
The government's policy is a national minimum wage, and we not only meet but exceed the requirements of the national minimum wage. We help a lot of people who otherwise would be dependent on benefits because we provide flexible and part-time working that enables them to combine the world of work with their caring and studying and other responsibilities, people who can only work part-time through illness. That is a significant benefit to those individuals who are much more independent than they otherwise might be, and to society by reducing the cost of benefits.
So the message is, be grateful you've got a job, and it's not our problem you can't live on the wages.
Our retailers provide the rate for the job. They pay wages that are similar to other sectors, including the public sector. They meet all of their obligations and go further. And yes, they provide lots of opportunities for people to develop themselves and to further their careers into higher paid jobs in the future.
What the campaigners want is something called a living wage, calculated at £7.20 outside London, £8.30 inside the capital. Banks, law firms and some public sector employers have signed living wage agreements for their lowest paid staff, and the politicians have lauded the idea.
You have asked for a living wage in the public sector. As you know, I think this is a good and attractive idea.
Those who've studied the existing schemes are blunt about the advantage.
The living wage would be a huge benefit, mainly to the taxpayer at the present period of time. So if you moved people from the minimum wage to the living wage, the taxpayer would probably benefit by about £50 per week per worker. So for supermarkets employing 100,000 workers who are getting tax credits, which is quite plausible, if each one of them got £50 a week from their employer rather than the taxpayer, you're talking hundreds of millions of pounds every single year. And so the taxpayer would be benefiting there, the Treasury would be benefiting.
For those who sack the shelves, though, it's about fairness. This was our shop workers' reaction when we told her that supermarket CEOs earn between 3 and 7 million.
I had no idea at all. I thought something around maybe about 100,000 or something like that, but not millions. No, that is completely wrong. In fact, you've opened my eyes greatly. I am absolutely shocked that they do get that kind of money. It's unbelievable.
When surveyed, supermarket workers say they do appreciate the flexibility, the training, the management style. But if we are now reliant on these big four employers to create jobs, we may have to accept the fact that hundreds of thousands of workers do not earn enough to live on, and that the taxpayer takes up the slack.